Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Malabite Efeni. Great Malabite. Action.
Good morning, Ruben.
Good morning.
Good morning, Rufai.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, Victoria, Tundu, MKO Abiola.
Good morning, Mr. Efeni.
Yes, let's start the day with this day Nigeria's newspaper of records. The lead story: petrol smuggling rises to 42 million liters daily. Nnpc cries out, says subsidy hits 150 billion naira monthly. Yes, the talk, the dialogue, the deliberations about removing subsidy has been on for some time and will continue. Ruben, you think the subsidy will soon be removed? Well, if you go by the body language and the verbal language of the president, maybe not very soon. Recall that during that famous interview you had with the president, part of what he said concerning it, apart from the smuggling, was that if I remove it today, people will cry out and go into the street and say, it's our oil. So, whereas the Jonathan administration, Ruben, let not your heart be troubled, removed subsidy in January 2012, yes. And many who are in government today, and many who call themselves activists, poured into the streets to protest, to gather at Ojota, feeding people and playing music. And that government had to make a U-turn. President Buhari does not want to see that kind of reaction because Labour has been warning and warming up that if you eventually arrive at that 250 naira per litre, they will take to the streets. Hence, this endless dialogue with Labour. But again, the buck stops at the president's table. Why are our borders so porous? It is not enough for anybody to say only God can police our borders. There are borders around the world that are far longer than Nigeria's borders with Niger Republic. And we have people we pay, customs officers we pay, military officers we pay to take charge of our borders. And if so much petrol still flow across the borders, then they too should share the responsibility. But the real issue really is that if you sell petrol at a subsidized price in Nigeria, the incentive to smuggle will be there across the border for people to make quick bucks. And that is exactly what is happening. Now, let's look at other stories quickly. The Daily Sun newspaper, yes, another day went straight from the morning show to the front pages of the newspapers. Expectedly, because the newsmakers talk to Arise morning show. Now, the lead story of Daily Sun, military colluding with bandits, alleges Gumi. That story straight from that interview you had with Sheikh Gumi yesterday. Says herdsmen better than IPOB. Allegations false, targeted at denigrating troops. The army is responding. Immigration's Controller General reveals how security operatives supply bandits arms, ammunition. So Gumi is not saying anything new. Now, the Nigerian Tribune, also the same story. Security agents colluding with bandits. Gumi, stop making sweeping allegations. Army replies. Daily Independent newspaper, security operatives working with bandits, Gumi alleges. The Vanguard newspaper, banditry, army kicks as Gumi alleges collusion by security agents. So, a number of newspapers watch the morning show and get the newsmakers to their front pages. Now, if we look at the Daily Trust newspaper, riverine communities decry rot in inland waterways, while the Nigeria News Direct newspaper, corruption war. Nigeria recovers $700 million assets in 6 years. That's the News Direct newspaper. Urges African government, according to Professor Bolaji Owasanoye, the chairman of the Independent Corrupt Practices Commission, urges African governments to prioritize assets recovery. Now, the Nation newspaper, Insecurity, ACF, the Arewa Consultative Forum, Afenifere, Ohaneze, others join forces. Arewa plans ethnic leaders dialogue on state of the nation. That's the Nation newspaper. And the invitation it has sent out, according to Arewa Consultative Forum, the forum hopes to meet with leaders of Ohaneze, Ndigbo, Afenifere, and South-South leaders to discuss the lingering issues in the country. Well, Ohaneze has responded, the resolution to meet with us and leaders of other ethnic groups is most welcome. The position of Ohaneze Ndigbo is well known. While Afenifere, we will attend. Our position that we should judge on the future of Nigeria, Afenifere is a stakeholder if the invitation is in good faith. Now, this is what perhaps many also expect the government to do. Bring all ethnic nationalities together in an atmosphere of dialoguing. But if the ethnic nationalities are taking the initiative, it is a welcome development. Now, economic stories quickly. The Guardian newspaper of Nigeria. Airfare spike as aviation fuel nears 300 naira per litre at airports. Logistics challenges. Weak naira push Jet A1 to 215 naira in South. Over 300 naira per litre up north. Apapa port congestions cost importers extra $10,000 to $25,000 daily. It's a shame no refinery produces Jet A1 locally, says Georgie. Yes, we can continue to bemoan how we do things wrongly if congestion at the Apapa port puts so much on importation of Jet A1. It is bad enough that we don't even produce it in this country. Despite the fact that we have 4 refineries, I hope the Dangote refinery will also solve that problem. The Punch newspaper, endless borrowing, experts worry. Okonjo-Iweala, Ahmed differ on Nigeria's debt. We will borrow more to build infrastructure, federal government insists. Nigeria's debt to GDP ratio rose from 29% to 35%. World Trade Organization boss, that's Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. Funds spent on debt servicing by government worrisome experts. Now, the Business Day newspaper, baby food market boom on Nigeria's growing population. Yes, Nigeria's rapidly growing population is giving life to the baby food market, which has to ensure an estimated 7 million babies born in Nigeria every year are properly fed. Yes, the economic hardship does not affect matters in the other room. So many more babies are being born in Nigeria. More baby food importation to help feed this newborn. Now, the foreign newspapers quickly. The Independent newspaper of UK. Russian jets and ships confront Navy off Crimea. While the Times reporting this same story, the Times of UK, you won't stop our ships, defiant, Britain tells Putin. Of course, the Royal Navy will continue, according to this report, Britain is insisting that it will not be impeded, its ship will not be impeded sailing in the waters of Crimea after, of course, a military confrontation. You can see the Russian jets overhead the British warships there. In fact, they fire some warning shots, but again, we hope this will not degenerate into a war situation. Now, the Guardian newspaper of UK, police officer convicted of footballer's manslaughter. Yes, police constable Benjamin Mock became the first police officer to be convicted in 35 years for manslaughter. Yes, for killing Dalian Atkinson, a former professional footballer. Of course, that's some relief for the family, although they still have to make do with the pain of losing a loved one. PC, that's Police Constable Benjamin Mock, fired stun gun into the former professional footballer for 33 seconds, 6 times longer than the standard. And for that, he has been convicted for manslaughter after 5 years of legal battle. Dr. Abati, Mr. Useni, Ms. M.K. Abiola, over to you.
Mr. Fedi, okay, great. Where should we start from? A lot of things happening. A particular story that caught me and was in Business Day, but it was not on the front page. It was not a headline story. It was in Business Day. It said 16.9% of PhD holders in Nigeria are jobless. And that goes back to talk about the narrative for jobs. A couple of years ago, I think it was a company that put out an application for drivers. And part of those that applied to be drivers in that company were PhD holders. And now, the National Bureau of Statistics is saying that 16.9% of PhD holders in Nigeria are jobless. That speaks volumes. I would like to know the reaction, of those that are supposed to provide jobs, because PhD holders are the intellectuals in society. They're the ones that do policy framing and the likes. They are the intellectuals in society. So if we have a society where our intellectuals are jobless, close to 20% of PhD holders in this country are jobless, then something has to be done.
Well, we don't even have enough PhDs. I think that Nigeria should even have a program for producing more PhDs. People who can use their brains, people who can think, people who can analyze. I get to hear this all the time. There was a year they were saying that when Dangote Group put out applications for drivers, that most of them were PhD holders.
No, not most of them.
Amongst
them were PhD holders.
So oftentimes when I see that, I see it more or less like an exaggeration because a situation whereby a PhD holder will be jobless. The simplest thing that a PhD holder can do is to go and teach and do research and impart knowledge to the younger generation. But we cannot argue with the fact that, yes, there is unemployment in the country at 33.3%. That has to be addressed. I guess PhD holders can find something to do, except they are choosy, and many of them, if they don't get a job in Nigeria, and if it's not, a problematic PhD, they can always go teach abroad, because the space for knowledge and research is a very open space. I don't think we need to worry about that.
Yes, because we have so many new universities coming up, Ruben. So there should be enough room for them to accommodate those jobless PhDs, if you will.
Jobless PhDs. Anyway, thank you very much, Emmanuel Feni.